Spring cleaning just got easier. The Town of Marana's 2025 Recycle event is your chance to safely dispose of unwanted items, all for free. The event will include non-commercial paper shredding, paint collection for latex, water-based, and oil-based paints, and most electronics, with secure off-site hard drive destruction. Marana Food Bank will also be on site to accept donations. Join us for this once-a-year event and clear out the clutter responsibly. Visit maranaaz.gov/calendar for upcoming event details.
Marana Animal Services is offering low-cost vaccination clinics in partnership with the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. These clinics are held twice a year at the Ed Honey Marana Municipal Complex. Don't miss out on this opportunity to protect your pup. Visit maranaaz.gov/animal services for details on dates, pricing, and services.
Welcome to Real Talk with the Town, where I sit down with Marana staff to answer your burning questions about our beautiful community. My name is Terry Rozema, and I'm the town manager for the town, so let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Real Talk with the Town. My name is Terry, and I am your host, and today we're going to be talking about Marana Regional Airport. And who better to have in the studio than our very own Galen Beem to talk about that very topic, along with Fausto Burruel, the Public Works Director. Galen is our airport manager and has been out at the airport for, 16, 17 years, something like that?
Yeah, somewhere right around in there.
Right around in there. Well, guys, I appreciate both of you so much being on the show with me here today. And obviously, with an incident that we had last week, we've been getting a lot of questions, and there's been a lot of attention focused on Marana Regional Airport as a result of the accident. So this is a heavy topic as we kind of start out. So I'm just going to throw it to you, Galen, and ask if there's anything that you want to open with on this really tragic incident and difficult topic.
Yes, I thank you, Terry, for that. It was very hard. The community at the airport and everybody at the town, all of us are so heartbroken about what happened there and feel so bad. We go out to the families and everybody who was affected by this tragic event. Even the other airplane, there was people in that were affected, I'm sure having a hard time. Our hearts go out to all of them. But we'd also like to thank those who responded. Marana PD was there. They were there very quickly. I was shocked. They even beat me out to the airfield, some of them. Mm-hmm. Their response time was amazing. And the way that they helped secure that and all of that was just amazing to me to see a community like that pull so close together so fast. Northwest Fire, they were there instantly to help put out that fire. We thank all of them for that, Terry.
Excellent. I'm sure that probably most people have heard about, seen the story about the crash out at our airport. But just real briefly, if you can describe for our listeners what happened, because you're absolutely right. I think first and foremost, our condolences to the families, the two people that lost their lives. One of the most significant tragedies a community can experience. And then, of course, the other people in the plane that were involved directly with the crash but were uninjured. Very difficult situation, and for all those who were involved as first responders. But can you just describe for our listeners the incident that happened out there for those who might not be aware of what we're even talking about?
Yeah, so we had an crash out there midair, two planes over the runway, and somehow one either clipped or come close to the other one. I don't know what happened, but that one of the planes veered off and crashed, and the other one came around and landed. And that's all we have right now. NTSB is the ones who are leading the investigation on that.
NTSB is what, for our listeners?
That is the National Transportation Safety Board.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty big deal, them and the FAA.
Yes,
Yep.
They supported them in that, and they had a big group of people come out, and they took care of all of that.
So Marana's not doing the investigation here of what happened and what went wrong and things of that nature.
That is correct.
There's federal agencies that are involved in overseeing this and making sure that it's fully vetted, investigated, to make sure that we understand what went wrong so that we can try to prevent something like this from ever happening again.
That is correct, Terry. They were out there for hours. I mean, we had to close the airport for over 36 hours for them to do their job and collect all of that so they could make and decide what happened in that accident.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about airports in general and then kind of narrow this a little bit more to the town of Marana and our airport. But airports, people, there's people that are afraid to fly, right?
Yes.
People like, my brother's one of them.
Yeah.
I can't get him to fly out here to see me, man. We had to drive across the country to get him out here. But so some people are afraid to fly, and are airports a scary place? Are they a safe place? Are they unsafe place?
Safest way to travel.
Safest way to travel.
It's aviation.
That's a pretty bold statement there.
It's
Galen.
still right now.
Yeah.
Is the safest even time to travel. We have, the NTSB. They have a website there where you can look things up, and they show you nationally, we are down from last year. There was more wrecks in the last 2 months, the first 2 months of 2024 than this first 2 months of 2025.
Okay, so perception-wise, with some of the recent incidents that are happening, and they've been highly publicized, right?
Yes.
For whatever reason, there's a lot of attention to this topic right now. But you're telling me that last year for the same period, it's less than the same period this year.
Correct.
Yeah. So tell me, you got rough numbers there for me?
Yes, I do. I have numbers for you.
You have the numbers for
yes.
me. Okay.
So
Galen came prepared.
In 2024, in January, they had 80 crashes nationally. And then in 2024, February, there was 93. This year, in 2025, in January, we only had 64 nationally.
Okay. So that's a reduction of 16.
Yep.
I don't know what percentage that is, but, actually I do, because that's 20%, 20% reduction. There.
Yep. And in February.
I did that all in my head. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but.
Very good.
Didn't use a calculator or anything.
In February, we only had 46.
46
compared
this year?
Compared to last year, we had 93.
Oh, wow. I'm not gonna do the math in my head on that one, but that's a significant reduction. So a lot of attention to this, and rightfully so. Whenever an incident like this happens, it's tragic, and people want to know what happened, and are we more safe or less safe, and things of that nature. But the town of Marana Airport, a safe airport, would you say?
I would say.
Why are you? Tell me why then. You would. I see your head is going up and down, and I can see you're like so eager to answer this question.
Yes.
And I feel like maybe it's a softball now with the eagerness I see on your face. So tell me why you believe that the Marana Regional Airport is a safe airport.
Well, airports in general have a lot of guidelines and things that they have to do for the FAA, and more so if you are a commercial airport. In the airport community, we call them Part 139 airports.
Part 139?
Yes,
Okay.
Part 139 airports.
Okay.
They have rules and regulations that they have to meet to be a commercial. We are a GA reliever airport, but we hold ourselves to those same standards. We use those.
The same 139 standards. Okay.
Yes. And we hold ourselves to those standards and use those as best practice at our airport.
So we literally hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Yes, we are raising that bar.
I love it. Sounds like 5-star service to me.
Yes.
Okay.
And Terry, what does that mean? We're doing inspections daily of our airfield. We're making sure we're maintaining the airfield, the lighting systems, the pavements, all the vegetation out there, keeping it low, keeping it safe, keeping our safety areas clean and debris free of everything. Checking for FOD, which is foreign object and debris, which could be anything. Could
FOB.
be a screw. Yep, FOD.
I thought you said fog.
No, FOD.
Okay.
Foreign objects
objects and debris.
Yes.
FOD, F-O-D. All right. So you got folks out there at the airport that are doing this, and we're going to give a shout out to those guys because they're phenomenal guys. You got Michael, you got David, you got Joseph.
Yes.
Of course, Linda's out there doing the admin for you.
Correct.
Yeah, great people out there doing the work of the airport and keeping that safe, along with yourself and your leadership. So tell me a little bit more. What additional information can you give me about that reassures people about the safety of our airport and airports in general?
So with that standard, there are other things that we do that we're involved with. ADOT has a program called APMS, Airport Pavement Maintenance System. We're involved in that, and we work with them to make sure our pavement is good and conditioned, so no problems taking off, landing. We're actually getting ready to do a project with them where we're going to be doing some crack sealing, seal coat, repainting of our main runway, and doing all that just to make sure.
So no potholes at the airport.
None of that.
All right. Very good to know. All right. I'm gonna turn here to Fausto and talk a little bit. You're both involved with this, but Fausto, I feel like I need to bring you into this conversation here. So I want to talk about an airport tower. Do we have an airport tower at the town of Marana?
So no, we currently do not, Terry.
Okay. So what's the plan, man? I mean, does that make it unsafe, the fact that we don't have one?
No, it does not make it unsafe. It is a non-towered airport, but that's not to say that it's uncontrolled.
Okay.
As Galen mentioned, there are criteria, regulations in place of how operations are to occur at the airport, and he's done a great job, and he knows the airport inside and out, and he's taught me a lot about it. But no, when I say how the operations go, obviously, when you're doing your routine, when you're coming into the airport for a landing, things you're supposed to, identify yourself, let others know what your intentions are. So like, there's a lot of student activity, a lot of, training that happens, not only on our airport, but we have others that fly into our airport from other locations.
Very good. So I'm going to jump back over to my man Galen, because you used a term, and I want Galen to flesh this out a little bit more for us.
That's fine.
And because I've heard this term used multiple times in the media, uncontrolled airport, right? So Galen, why are they wrong when they say, or incorrect? That sounds so harsh when I say that. Why are they incorrect when they call it an uncontrolled airport?
So there are procedures into flying into Marana. We have a flight pattern that you come into. You have to come in at a 45, go to downwind, and every time you're doing this, you're making these calls over the radio to inform people that you're coming in, where you're at, what your intentions are. If you're going to come in and come around, land the main runway there, 1-2, and are you going to make a complete stop? Are you going to do a touch and go, maybe a touch and go and coming back around? Or if you're going to leave the airport, leave the pattern, and you do that. And these are all rules. These are all in a advisory circular that the FAA has provided for these instructors to teach their students on how to fly into a non-towered airport.
Non-towered. So difference,
Yes.
Big difference here. We're talking about two separate things, uncontrolled,
Yes.
non-towered.
Yes.
So how many airports are there in the state of Arizona?
There's over 68 airports in Arizona.
And probably most of them have a tower.
No.
No.
Nope.
What do you-
Only 8 towers in the state.
8 out of 60, what was it?
Over 68.
Over 68.
Yes.
Those could be 69, could be 70.
Yes. Well, there's some glider ports and some
Okay,
things
all
that
right.
aren't in there.
So very small percentage then actually have towers.
Correct.
And we're in line to get a tower. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So, our operations are increasing. So we had to apply to get into the tower program. And we did that back in 2019 and got in there as we have shown that we needed a need for a tower.
What's that need based on? Fausto, what do we base that need
So
on?
it's based on your airport traffic operations, so your landings and takeoffs. So
Okay.
how much air traffic volume you have.
Do you know what that is? off the top of your head?
Currently, we're at about, we'll call it 84 to 85,000 is our number, which is high. It's also based on the classification.
84, 85,000
A year, sorry.
year?
A year of how many planes
That's
we
a
have
lot
coming
of
in and leaving.
planes.
Correct. The other criteria is the type of classification of planes you get.
Okay.
We have a lot of the smaller, like the Cessnas and those types, but we also have the larger, more charter type planes.
Okay.
Which again, I'll defer to Galen because he knows all of the types of
He
planes.
he knows his planes.
But I know that there's different classifications, and yes, we met that threshold.
Yeah. All right. So talk to me a little bit more, Galen.
Yes, so we did ahead and did that benefit and checked out all that. It's almost like an intersection. Last time we were here,
Oh,
I
yeah.
compared that. Same thing when you're going to change it. You got to see what your traffic is, what's going through there. Do you need to upgrade? Do you need to put in that turn signal? Do you need to make it instead of a 2-lane to a 4-lane? Same kind of thing that we had to do.
You need a stop sign
Yes,
versus a
from a
stop,
stop
line
sign
or a yield
to
sign.
yes.
Or a traffic circle.
Oh, yeah. Traffic circle.
Now you're speaking
love
my
our
language.
now
I
we're
can jump
talking.
in.
Yeah.
See,
Traffic
now I'm trying to
circles.
bring Fausto back
Yeah, we're trying to
into
bring
it here.
Fausto back into it. Start talking to him about streets.
And I will jump in a little bit. So what Galen is mentioning is, yeah, they do what's called a benefit cost analysis. As part of it, we have, again, X amount of traffic volume of airplane landings and takeoffs, and also the different criteria of plane doing that. So they look at that, and there's formulas that they utilize. This I definitely can't explain to you, but they say that, okay, obviously more traffic volume, a probability of a potential, crash event or something along those lines. And that's where they utilize for their benefit cost ratio. And they say, well, okay, if we give you a tower, then they come up with a cost metric, and then they assess that as to how much it would cost to man that tower.
Okay. All right. So we've qualified for a tower. We applied and got accepted in 2019.
Correct.
I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but it's now 2025. What in the world has taken so long to get a tower?
Yes. So we made it through, and we actually did the siting study.
Okay.
Picked a site that took over a year. To
Siting
do that.
study is just determining, hey, where does this tower going
Yes.
to go?
So we actually
What's the
had
best
to-
spot?
Yes. So we actually started, I think, with like 15 different spots on the airport. We got experts in. We got air traffic control tower guys in, and we went through them and decided which 3 were the best, and then from that decided which spot would be ideal to put this tower.
And we got an ideal spot.
Yes.
I've seen it. You guys have shown me actually even the, what is that called when you get to actually go in the tower and see
Virtual,
yeah.
like a 3D
Thank you,
virtual.
man. It couldn't 3D virtual
Yes.
to be able to see that. So where are we at with this tower, and what are we anticipating in terms of timeline, time frame? Fausto, let's shoot to you for that.
So Terry, currently we're in the phase, we call it the environmental assessment. That is when we're clearing the land, saying there's no environmental impacts of putting in the tower. And that is typically about a year-long process once the FAA starts the clock, if you will. So unfortunately, they also have some requirements and some footwork and homework they want you to do before you get to that point. So that's taken almost a year to get to that point. The reason why they want that 1-year clock is they have mandates that they need to perform, and it does need to be approved in that year's time frame. So that's kind of where our local FAA group has kind of held a little bit more stringent criteria to make sure we have everything, all our ducks in a row to get to that point. So we're currently about a little over midway in that process. But I will let you know that, as most people are aware, there's a new administration now at the federal level, and they've actually put a pause on all federal funds being distributed in regards to grants, and that impacts the FAA as well. We have been continuing to operate business as usual. However, we have been asked at this point to push a pause on that environmental assessment.
Any idea how long that we're going to be on pause?
Unfortunately, no, I don't have an idea at this point.
Okay. So, couple of things here. Number one, because it's been, going on 6 years here, almost 6 years since we started this process. Was there anything that caused a delay in this whole thing? Why did we end up having to go back and reapply?
As most people might recall, we had a small pandemic that occurred in that area.
Yes.
And so that
right at the beginning of the process that we were entering into the tower studies and things of that nature, right?
Correct. So unfortunately, that caused a slow roll into the whole effort. And it kind of had a domino effect on a lot of the processes that occurred. When you're working on these type of programs, you have to understand too, we're working with the federal level, which I hate to say government and everything, but we don't control their timeframes in the process. And it just, unfortunately, with the pandemic...
We're not their only community that's trying to put a tower in across the United States, right?
Correct. We are not the only community, and we're not the only ones impacted by the pandemic. So I'm not saying we're unique in that aspect, but of course, a lot of people were, and it did have other residual effects.
So because of that, we had to reapply. Was that the deal? So we applied in 2019. We had to come back and reapply because we couldn't make the timelines due to the delays in COVID.
Correct. Yes. So we identified pretty early on when Galen and I stepped in our current roles working with the airport and identified that, we're just not going to make this. It's a 5-year clock that you get for the tower program.
Everything has to be done up and running.
Everything operational, keys handed over to the FAA. Because with the program, what it does is we build the tower, we maintain the facility, if you will, but they man it. So it's air traffic control towers, people that are hired and operate on behalf of the FAA. So you have to have the keys ready, delivered, and that thing operational and cleared off, because there's also that has to be cleared and put into operations by the FAA. So everything has to be buttoned up and ready to go for them. So we identified early on that we weren't going to make that in the 5-year clock. That just wasn't going to happen. And we started asking if there was any type of mechanisms to extend that and extend the tower program. There was not. So our only choice was to reapply, which we were successful in doing that, but that was the direction we had to go.
But did we have to start all over with the site study and all of that, or did we get to kind of pick up where we left off?
No, fortunately, we were able to pick up where we left off.
Thank goodness.
Yes, man.
And just FYI, Galen, in case you're interested, I might be able to help out with the environmental. I've seen the site. Looks very safe to me. So if that counts for anything and helps speed up the process, you can let them know that the town manager has been there, looked at it, and highly approves of the location.
We thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
I wish that was all that was involved in that. But I think there's a few more steps we got to go through.
Well, you can't say I didn't try, Galen.
Thank you.
I was trying to do my part. So, Galen, let's talk a little bit. I think we've done a good job here, Fausto, kind of describing this tower that's on its way and will be here in a couple of years. What's the time frame? What's the completion date?
Currently, we're looking at having it up and operational end of 28, early 29. However, the caveat being, I don't know how long this pause that we're currently in is going to maintain.
Does the pause count against us?
The pause could count against us. We're in uncharted territory, to be honest. I don't think the FAA can answer us at this point, and we can't, because actually the environmental.
Yeah, I might have to cry foul.
I completely
I might have to cry
empathize and
foul.
understand.
I don't know. All right, so we're looking at end of 28, early 29, depending on how long this pause takes. I don't think it's going to take long, but I don't know for certain. So, Galen, how does that affect the operations then once we have a tower in place versus it sounds like what you were describing before, the pilots are talking to one another.
Correct.
And they do that on a radio.
Yes.
How do they know what channel to be on?
You go in, you can look up Marana Regional Airport in many different areas that's published. So every pilot should know that. And we also have it painted right on our main taxiway. So if you don't know, just look down. It's
just
right
look
there.
down. There it is. All right. I'm on the wrong channel. It's channel 2, not channel 1.
Yeah, it's actually 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on 1, 2, 3. You're at Marana.
You're okay. All right. So how does it change then once pilots are no longer talking on channel 1, 2, 3, and they're now listening to air traffic control staff?
Yes. So what they'll be doing is they'll be calling air traffic control on that same channel.
Same channel. Okay.
Same channel.
All right.
And they'll be asking them what to do. Right. And then the control tower guy is going to tell them exactly where to set up, how to come in, what number they are, what runway to use, and all of that. Okay. It's almost like if you're at an intersection and you have a police officer there telling you who's going, who's stopping, who's turning. Same thing.
Then they're done that.
Yes.
A time or
Yes.
two. Yeah, let me tell you. All right. So, you excited about that? I mean, what's kind of the tenor of the staff at the airport about this
Yes,
whole
we
thing?
are
about
very
having
excited for that and to help with that, with the safety of it and all of that. It's going to be completely different for everybody there because you have somebody out there, even the guys that are doing stuff on the ground.
You think it's
going to
gonna-
have to contact it?
Yeah. Do you think it's going to change the numbers of flights we have coming in and the types of aircraft?
Oh, I'm sure there will be some adjustments there. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll probably have more of the corporate jets and things like that flying in because they're going to feel more safe doing that and those type of operations at the airport.
All right.
Yeah. But with that being said, it is going to be safer. But like we were talking about the intersection, you put that light, you put that turn arrow, you put all that in.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean there's never going to be an incident, an accident at that intersection, Terry?
No, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
So it ain't going to fix everything. There's still that human error part or something like
Mechanical
that.
issues.
Mechanical issue.
The kind of car, the brakes fail.
Correct.
Whatever, right?
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So I think we've covered a lot here, and I don't know if there's other things we need to cover that I haven't thought about. So I want to throw it back to each of you individually to talk about whether or not there's anything you want to add or another element of this important topic that we need to cover and talk about. So Fausto, why don't we start with you? Anything you could think of that we haven't covered that we need to give a little more consideration and discussion to?
Just one comment that I know Galen mentioned to me as we were talking about, obviously what occurred last week. Just want to express our thanks to all of the users of the airport and the understanding that they provided that, knowing, and I'll let Galen expand on this some, but obviously we had to shut down the airport for a period of time, about 36 hours.
Yeah.
And so that impacts users of our airport, and also there's businesses, active businesses out on the airport. But from what Galen tells me, it's a community. I mean, we know that, and it's a very tight-knit community, and I think there's been nothing but support for that. I just want to say thank you to them, and I'll let Galen add a little more on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing that really impressed me, just the outreach and everybody, even the people in Marana. I've had text messages, phone calls from people, saying how sorry they are that this has happened, that we're going through this. The support that we have all felt has just been amazing, Terry.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows you how great Marana is.
That's a great way to conclude, unless, Galen, you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's all I have, Terry.
All right. Well, what a great way to conclude it, to talk about the community, how it came together, the support, and the things that really make a community great and make Marana specifically such a wonderful community to live in. So thank you, listeners, for joining us on a very difficult topic after a very challenging and tragic incident that happened here in Marana. I hope that we provided a little bit more clarity and understanding relative to what goes on out at the Marana Airport, the safety of our airport, how seriously we take the safety of our residents and those who are utilizing our airport as well. Please continue to send in your questions and comments. We love hearing from you. Until next time. Submit your questions by visiting maranaaz.gov/realtalk, and we'll answer them right here. To receive notifications for new releases, remember to hit subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Also, remember to follow the town on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date on current news and events.